session we are going to cover an interesting aspect of my body metabolism, and that is the fat burning mode versus sugar burning mode. Can we hit the root cause of many problems which we are seeing today? Yes, the sugar burning mode can be pointed as one of the major factor which is inducing so many metabolic issues in the today's society. As we all know, my body is designed to use two types of fuels. One is the glucose. As we all know, we are neglecting the more important fuel designed by God, and that second fuel is the fat, lipids. The periods of low availability of food have always been the part of human history. As we all know, the history goes back to 50,000 years back, when the first human has been found in South African caves. But let apart, in those days, the food availability was not so secure as we are seeing today. So the fasting state of the body versus fed state of the body was occurring almost continuously in the human history. The human body has been well developed for this transition from the fed state to the fasting, feast against fast. Do you know how much sugar is there in my body? The dissolved sugar is hardly 10 to 15 grams plus one more small storage form of sugar is there, that is called as glycogen. Some 100 to 150 grams of glycogen is there in my liver, and 100 to 300 grams of glycogen is stored in my muscle. That quantity differs from person to person depending on the build of that person. Obviously, more muscular the person, more glycogen he can store in his muscle. How much fat is there in the body? Even in the thinnest guy has almost 5 to 6 kilogram of body fat. So calorie wise, my glucose department or sugar department have just 2000 calories stored in my body, while fat is more than 50,000 calories, and that is, as we all know, expandable memory. Today we are seeing 15 kg, 20 kg extrovert, so it is an expandable fuel tank. Our body designer is so silly. Why has he given us a very small sugar tank and very huge fat or lipid tank? So fat must have been a preferred fuel for the routine or the long run. Now, with this concept, I will come back to sugar. Sugar is not so friendly to the body. Sugar is described as a rocket fuel. It gets consumed in very fast and furious way, as against fat. Fat is consumed at much even speed. The sugar metabolism itself attracts many cycles of uncoupled respiration. This uncoupled respiration leads formation to free oxygen radicals, which damages my body cells, body structure everywhere. Sugar metabolism leads to formation of many advanced glycosylation end products. We call them as AGEs, which damages intricate cellular mechanism. Thus, sugar is accelerating my aging process. Only very important duty given to the sugar by God or the designer is sugar is the only fuel out of the two which body can use even in the absence of oxygen. So in case of emergency, when I am uh, requiring fuel in anaerobic way, there comes the role of sugar. So as we all know, when I am sprinting at highest possible speed for few seconds, for uh, some time, I can burn sugar in absence of oxygen. As I already said, the sugar metabolism leads to many glycation processes in the body. This glycation is when the sugar gets attached to proteins, it denatures the proteins. When it gets attached to the various enzymes, it denatures the enzymes. So the protein gets functional changes, it gets vulnerable to the oxidative damage, precipitates inflammatory reaction all over the body. These advanced glycation end products, they cause a structural damage to the protein moiety, causing aging process or precipitating aging process all over the body. In last few decades, we are seeing the tsunami of various metabolic problems. Literally tsunami. There is more than 300% rise in various metabolic issues in the society. If we compare the incidence of problems like hyperacidity, diabetes, obesity, gout, where uric acid is increased, hypertension or cardiovascular issues, infertility or various other hormonal disorders like thyroid problem, even cancer, all these problems we are seeing on the rampant rise in last few decades. So what had changed? Two major changes that I can point out to. One is the food availability and second is the food type which we people are ingesting. If we compare our food availability and food type, so food availability, as we all know, maybe 100 years back freeze was not there, refrigerator was not there, and food availability was not that plenty. So fast and feast mode. People used to tool down their body system with the sunset. So body clock was set in motion by sunrise sunset cycle. Today with the advent of televisions and with mobile and all these light emitting devices, we are sleeping late night and we are consuming food almost 24 hours a day. That is one major change we are seeing in last few decades. And second change is the type of food we are eating. We are eating too much of simple sugar or simple carbohydrates in our diet. It may be in the form of white sugar, it may be form of in the candies, in the cakes or other bakery items, various syrups, squash, refined flour, and all these things we are consuming 24 hours a day. So in spite of being unhealthy choice, why are we in the sugar burning mode? That will be the biggest question in your brain. The reasons for this I can tell you. First is the current nutritional advice of frequent eating. We are advised and we are under assumption that frequent 2 to 3 hourly eating is a must for healthy life. Current health industry and food industry, most of the food industry items or junk food items are full of sugar. Then we are told that fat is dangerous, so fat has taken the back seat in the current nutritional choices, and last but most important thing, sugar has been shown to be 8 times more addictive than cocaine. Remember that sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. It stimulates the reward center in my brain. What sugar does? Sugar stimulates the reward center in my brain, and that's why most of the world today is being pushed into the sugar burning mode, which is not a preferable mode. In fact, I can dare to say that the sugar burning mode is the root cause of most of these metabolic issues. Here I can give you an analogy. Suppose I go to the market, I have a refrigerator and a freezer in my house. From the market, I bought some food items. I consume few of them. Surplus goes where? Surplus goes to my refrigerator. If refrigerator gets full, then I will start putting more and more things in the freezer in my basement. Now, as the food availability is in plenty, I don't take efforts or pain to use the food kept in the refrigerator or freezer. I am going again and again to the market. What will happen? After few days, my one freezer will be full, so I will buy another freezer, I will buy third freezer, I will go on adding adipose tissue on my body. Now, as the habit of using the sugar as a metabolic fuel, body just forgets to use fat. So in case of non-availability of sugar, immediately my brain reacts, my body reacts, I start getting headache, severe nausea, vomiting sort of feeling, and I immediately grab for some sugary atom. Now this is a vicious circle now. I am just consuming sugar, anything which is in surplus going to the godown or my freezer. I am not consuming or I am not taking anything back from this freezer. And there I land up in a vicious cycle of increased body weight, obesity, and then all the chain reaction along with that. We all are in sugar burning mode. Suppose one day I decided not to go in the market. What will happen? Obviously I should open my refrigerator and freeze, and I should take some material out of it. But since I haven't gone to my basement for a long period of time, I have lost keys of few freezers, the doors of few freezers are just unopenable, and I will then again go for the easier option, that is going to the market. Same thing happens in the sugar burning person. His body doesn't accept fat as its fuel, and so he go for the easier option, that is he starts consuming more and more sugar.